Thanks for being a part of In the Trenches with Dave Lapham, brought to you by First Star Logistics, as always, emanating from our outstanding studios provided by First Star Logistics. We can't thank them enough. I'll tell you what, it was not pretty. It was not pretty down at Paycor. Cincinnati Bengals fall to 0-3. And really, two of the teams that they played against are like, all right, new owner, new head coach, new coordinators, young quarterback, let's get after it. Well, it's not worked out that way. The Kansas City Chiefs game, played a good football game. That was fool's gold, though. Patrick Mahomes has said himself, the Chiefs aren't playing good football yet. They're not playing at their best. Difference is, they're two-time Super Bowl champion. They figure out a way to win one-score games. The Bengals lose their third one-score game in a row. Myriad of reasons why. I'll tell you, the amazing thing, though, I thought I was watching a high school game. Nobody punted the football. No turnovers in the football game. First time in the NFL since 1940 that's taken place. I knew I'd never seen it before. I wasn't even born yet. I mean, that's crazy. Both teams converted all their fourth down opportunities. And, man, Washington's were big. They were 3 for 3 on fourth down. The Bengals were 1 for 1. I mean, there was not a possession that did not end in a scoring opportunity. Now, the Bengals missed a field goal, but Washington now has converted 14 straight drives to points, 14 in a row. Their punter, Tress Way, hasn't punted since the opening week. He's punted 3 times on the season. Hasn't punted in the last 2 football games. Unbelievable. I mean, so many things happen in this football game that make you sit back and scratch your head. In my mind, one of the biggest problems the Cincinnati Bengals had, never got them behind the sticks. They had 9 third down opportunities. 7 of those were third and 2 yards or less. That's tough sledding right there. In the first half, the 2 third down conversion opportunities that Washington had were both third and 1s. And they didn't even get to a third down opportunity until there was like 4 minutes left in the second quarter. This game was nuts. Both teams had 7 possessions. I'm not counting the kneel down that Washington had to win the football game. 1 play, minus 1 yard, they kneeled down to end the clock. In the first quarter, each team had 1 possession. In the second quarter, each team had 3 possessions. In the third quarter, each team had 1 possession. In the fourth quarter, each team had 2 possessions, 7 possessions each. And on those 7 possessions, 3 of the 7 possessions for Washington were 10 plays or more, 10-play, 12-play drive, and a 9-play drive to boot. The Bengals, the same thing. I mean, they had 11-play drive, 13-play drive, 9-play drive. Both football teams were doing the same thing offensively. I mean, they were playing keep away. Big difference in the football game. Look at the red zone. You got Washington going 3 for 3 in the red zone. The Bengals 2 for 4. Big difference in that football game. The Bengals could not get done in the red zone everything they needed to get done, and Washington got everything they needed to get done. There was just 1 tackle for loss in the football game. 1 tackle for 1 yard loss. Just incredible. Washington converted on 5 of the 9 third down opportunities. The Bengals converted on 6 of 10. The Bengals had 436 yards offense to 356 for Washington. 7.3 yards of play for the Bengals. It's almost like I look at last week's game. Kansas City goes 1 for 8 on third down, 12.5%. Kelsey has 3 targets, 1 catch for 5 yards. Mahomes throws for 150 yards, and you don't beat him? The offense in this football game, it's like the numbers that they put up, and they rush for 124 yards on 20 carries, 6.2 per, and you don't win the football game? Average 7.3 per snap? I mean, it's crazy. When you put up the numbers the Cincinnati Bengals put up, you win the football game like 97% of the time. It's crazy, and they didn't. So, I mean, there's something wrong here. More than one thing, I guess. But I mean, there's something wrong. It's just unbelievable. Some good things happened in the football game. Joe Burrow had his 100th touchdown pass. It only took him 55 games, tied for 7th fewest in NFL history. He's now got 102, by the way. Let's see. He's 20th in touchdown passes of 40 yards, or that was his 20th, I should say, touchdown pass of 40 yards or more. Number one in the NFL since 2020. That's getting it done down the football field for sure. How about Yossi Vash? Yossi's got 25 career receptions, 7 of them are touchdowns, and a lot of them are like red zone touchdowns to boot. I mean, it just Jamar Chase. It was his 12th 40-yard touchdown pass or longer, second most since 2021. Tyreek Hill's the only other guy that is ahead of him with 13. He had touchdown catches of 41 and 31 yards, seventh game, multi-touchdown receiving game in his career, third most in the NFL since 2021. He's got 1,500-plus yard receiving games. That's eighth in the NFL since 2021. Man, Washington, though, I got to applaud their game plan. You got to give them credit. They went muddle huddle, up tempo. They had the Bengals on their heels the whole game from a communication standpoint, in my opinion. It was just a tremendous game plan. And you got a young quarterback, 21 of 23. I mean, I was on the field when Kenny Anderson completed 20 out of 22 passes to set an NFL completion record in a single game. And I was amazed by what was going on there. 21 of 23, 254 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, 141.7 passer rating. You talk about 2 Heisman Trophy quarterbacks from the same school going against each other for only second time in NFL history. It exceeded the billing. I mean, it was unbelievably hyped. It exceeded the hype. Burrow went 29 of 38 for 324, 3 touchdowns, no picks, 127.5. Nuts. In my mind, the running game was encouraging. The Bengals ran the football well. They averaged 6.2 a carry, 20 carries, 124 yards. The 2 tailbacks, Brown and Moss, 19 rushes, 120 yards, three big, huge plays in it. Brown had averaged 8.9 yards per rush. To me, it all was about T. Higgins. T. Higgins and Chase were back together on the field at the same time, on opposite sides of the field a lot of times. And what's that do? Well, you got tight ends that 14 catches, 151 yards the week before. Now you got 2 receivers on the outside. They had to play a lot of 2 deep safety. Back in 2022, when the Bengals played the Cowboys, Dan Quinn was the head coach. He played more cover 2 deep safeties against the Bengals receivers in that game than he did the whole season. So I knew we were going to see a lot of 2 deep safeties, so they could rotate, to both wide receivers and not tilt the field one way. So that evened everything out from a standpoint of how they were going to line up and what they were going to do. T. Higgins is responsible for that. Now you got tight ends that are catching the football, running good routes. They're exposed in the middle of the football field. What else happened? The running game. Why? Because now the box is light. It's like you got two really good receivers on the outside. You can't have a safety down in the box. The box is light. I mean, there's less traffic in there. Offensive line had their best game of the season because of that, I think. And like we talked about with the rushing numbers, I mean, they all ate. The ripple effect of having T. Higgins and Jamar Chase on the field at the same time was huge. Affected positively, every dynamic of the Cincinnati Bengals offense. So it's going to be interesting to see how they can improve on it. The drive that was the killer, though, the deciding factor in the football game, in the fourth quarter, Washington had the ball for 11 minutes and 42 seconds. The Bengals a mere 3 minutes and 18 seconds. Why? This drive was unbelievable, incredibly frustrating for everybody, particularly the coaches and the players. They go on a 12-play, 70-yard drive, take 7 minutes and 32 seconds off the clock. And the key component of it, it's 1st and 10 at the Bengals 45-yard line. They have a receiver, false start. Brown has a false start. Now it's 1st and 15 at midfield. Daniels gets sacked by Trey Hendrickson. He's now got 3 sacks in 3 games. Where's everybody else, though? Man, he's creating havoc. Where's everybody else? I mean, Daniels abused that opportunity big time. Now it's 2nd and 20. Daniels passes a short right pass to Brown for 8. 3rd and 12. Daniels goes to Brown again for 8 more. 4th and 4. No hesitation whatsoever. Throw the ball to Ertz at tight end, 9-yard pickup. They eventually go on to score on a 3rd and 7 from the Bengals' 27-yard line. Daniels Finally, Lou Anarumo says, let's heat up the rookie quarterback. I mean, I thought should have been doing that a little bit more than he did, but hindsight's always 2020. Geno Stone, free runner. Nobody touches him. As Daniels is released the foot, he gets hit. I mean, Stone does his job. He hits the quarterback, and he drops a dime down the football field to McLaren. Um, I think Hill had some issues in coverage from a technique standpoint, but bottom line is that throw under those circumstances on point. He dropped the dot on him. They took full advantage of some technique issues by Hill out there. And again, we're going to be talking to Eric Thomas here, and I'm going to ask ET once again about the conversion from safety to corner. Corner to safety happens a lot. Safety to corner is a different animal, and ET knows a lot about what's going on in the back end there. That drive changed everything. Put the Washington Commanders up by 12 points, 2 scores, and the Bengals get the football back with 2 minutes and 10 seconds, down 10 scores. I mean, that's it. Case closed. I thought the Washington Commanders took command of the football game. Honestly, I mean, the Bengals came out though on their first drive. They go 10 plays, 69 yards for a touchdown. I'm thinking, okay, they might be all right. Not so fast. Washington responds, 6 plays, 71 yards. The Bengals got 4 first downs. I should say the Bengals go 6 plays, 71 yards for a touchdown. I'm thinking they're in pretty good shape. They had 3 first downs on that drive. Washington comes right back, 10 plays, 69 yards. They get 4 first downs on the drive, tie it up. That's the last time the Bengals had a lead. The Commanders took command of the football game. And I'm telling you what, I can't, two people in my mind were the co-stars of that football game. Daniels and Kingsbury. Kingsbury called a hell of a football game. And what he did is he put his quarterback in winning situations. I'm watching that game and I'm thinking, this is the West Coast offense in this era. He's kind of taken some of the West Coast concepts and developed them into the modern offense. But Bill Walsh would have been proud. I mean, they were dinking and dunking a lot, throwing check downs, throwing the backs. Their whole thing is zone read, RPOs, run pass options, screen game. And then they'll take shots periodically, and they hurt the Bengals with a couple of shots, obviously. But man, I thought the game plan was phenomenal. It's simple. It's not complicated at all. And Daniels is all over it. And I'm going back to the great Paul Brown. PB said, we're going to run this offense. Bill Walsh, they combine on the West Coast offense, and it's like simple. A lot of different window dressing, formations, motions, looks, has the defense kind of like what's going on. They must be doing something. Oh, same plays out of all these different looks. That's what Washington's doing. And they're making it simple for Daniels. And man, is that dude responding. And then when it breaks down and he has to extend and create, can he do that? Yeah. He comes into the game with over 500 yards total offense and no turnovers. I mean, he has, in this football game, he has better than 250 yards total offense in this game. He throws for 254. He rushes for another 39. He has over 290 yards offense in this football game. Washington hasn't turned the football over all year long. Unbelievable. They've only got 1 takeaway, but they're +1 in that department on the season. All year. This is a young rookie quarterback. 91% completion percentage, all-time record for an NFL rookie. This guy is making good decisions, taking care of the football, moving his football team, and man, here's his emotions during the game. Flatline. You're not going to get him out of sorts. You're not going to get him frustrated. You're not going to get him unsure of himself. Here's the other thing about him during the game, like this all the time. Big smile. Always smiling. Teeth showing a lot of the time. The dude loves to play. He loves football. He loves his teammates. He's good at it. This guy's a star. It's interesting. Bengals are going to Carolina. C.J. Stroud. He's collecting splinters in his butt. This kid with the second pick in the draft. And how about this? You got two Heisman Trophy winners in the same school competing in this football game. Next week, Bengals are playing against Andy Dalton because they said that's enough for Stroud. Andy Dalton, of course, hey, played with the Cincinnati Bengals, one of the greatest streaks they ever had, 5 straight playoff appearances. Didn't win any games, but go to the playoffs 5 straight years. Dalton has beaten the Bengals with 2 other franchises. The only one he didn't was with New Orleans. Now he's getting another shot to beat him for a third time with a different franchise. And man, there's 2 quarterbacks in the NFL that have over 300 yards passing. Burrow and Andy Dalton. Joe Burrow and Andy Dalton, the only 2 NFL quarterbacks with over 300 yards passing. Dalton was the only one before the night games, Monday night games. But here they go. So the common denominator, the Bengal quarterbacks at one time, the only 2 quarterbacks throw for over 300 yards this season, and they're going head-to-head. So as always, there's a lot of interest, a lot going on. But man, defensively, you gotta dig deep. You gotta soul search. Got to make plays. Somebody else has to support Trey Hendrickson in the pass rush. You got to stay in your rush lanes, and somebody else has to get something done. I mean, they're beaten up. And now Trent Brown looks like he has a season-ending knee injury, career-ending. Who knows? I mean, I saw him in the locker room after the game. He had a big brace on that left knee. Now, he was on crutches, obviously, and that was emotional for the offensive line when he went down. And then he's on the ground. They have the cart. They can't pick him up. So he's yelling at his teammates, offensive linemen, to come help pick him up and put him on the cart. And it was an emotional when he left the field. But Mims comes in right away, Orlando Brown, right up to him, showing leadership, making sure that he's confident in what he was doing and how he was going to do it before he even took a snap on the football field. They broke him in. I was hoping to maybe let's see him as the third extra tight end, an extra offensive lineman on short yardage goal line situations, or even during the course of the action. And they did. First quarter, he's in there, and it got my wish. They had Ford do it. I was hoping put an extra offensive lineman there against the Chiefs, be physical. Ford goes in there. Why not? That's a big formation. Why not make it huge? Put Mims in there. And they did. Like 3 tackles on the field at the same time, 6'8", over 350 plus. The field's tilting, man. Now he's the guy. Now it's, he got his baptism under fire. He was on the field for over 30 snaps in this football game. He's the guy. The rest of the season, he's the guy at the right tackle position. Overset one time on a fellow rookie. Overset, gave him the inside. Calm down a little bit. Take your proper kick step angles, and he had a flinch on the extra point that made it a lot longer extra point wise. But man, Money Mac's got to get back on track. Just an extra point last week and a field goal in this football game, 48 yards. It's makeable. Got to make those. A lot that has to be done. Interestingly enough, final thought. After the football game, Zach Taylor, Joe Burrow, as they're going in the locker room, they go off into a little separate meeting room. What do you think went on there? Who knows? My guess, though, is that it was all about let's be delivering the same message. Joe Burrow was asked about it in the post-game press where he said it was mutually decided upon. They looked at each other and said, let's talk about this. So the one thing, 2 biggest leaders on the team are the head coach and the quarterback. You want the same message. You want a consistent message. And in their post-game comments, there was a consistent message there. So got to keep this football team intact. Can't have guys, flying off the handle. You have to have guys continue to buy in. I think the message will be consistent between quarterback and head coach. Let's face it. The team looks to those 2 guys. So does the media. So does the fan base, so does everybody. So I think it was a good move for both those guys to decide, let's talk this through. Zach's going to be delivering a message to the coaching staff. Joe will be delivering a message to the players, and let's move on. The thing you can't do, it's over. It's over. I thought 3 of the first 4 games with new ownership, new head coaches, new coordinators before they get settled in and all that, good opportunity to start 3-1. Certainly hasn't happened. You got one more chance in Carolina. You can't go back and do anything about the others, but what you need is a win. Forget to talk about the Super Bowl. Forget to talk about the playoffs. Forget to talk about winning the division. Forget to talk about wild card. Win a damn football game. That's what you got to do. Right now, that first win is looking difficult to get. You got to get it. Then once you get the first win, maybe some things will fall into place. You can get back on track and go on a run. Get a win in Carolina. Dave Lapham here, and every day I am grateful for my experience to have played professional football. As a player, I realize self-motivation, leadership, and appreciating your teammates are key. At First Star Logistics, you can use those same attributes to create the life you want for you and your family. Build your future by working hard like I did. You'll see results both on and off the field. Call First Star Logistics today and be part of our winning team.
Opportunity knocking.